past, what is your plan as the new Prime Minister now to revive growth, better governance, and also make really Pakistan into a middle-income country or an upper-middle-income country by 2047? And sir, you have to take the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Brende. Just one sentence. Lord Cameron is a friend, and he's with other mediators doing a very hard work. But I want to make it very clear that the world will not be in peace unless there is permanent peace in Gaza. I'm telling you very frankly, and we're all feeling that. And as if it is not already enough, look at what has Ukraine brought to the world. You know, commodity prices went, skyrocketing. We could not procure vital raw materials for our agri-economy and industrial economy. And on top of that, inflation hitting and breaking the back of developing countries. And then, coupled with that, climate-led devastation in Pakistan in 2022 was something which was unimaginable. And I have to say, in all humility, that Pakistan is one of those countries which has nothing to do with these reasons leading to climate change. Our contribution to emissions is not even a fraction of a percent. And yet, we were devastated like never before. Large swaths of land were submerged, millions of houses were washed away, millions of animals, and stagnant water-borne disease spread all over the country. And we had to cough out hundreds of billions of rupees from our own scarce resources to rehabilitate affectees, millions of them, children, under the sky. We're very grateful to all those friendly countries which were very helpful. Saudi Arabia, Britain, and Gulf countries, and of course, the United States of America, and many other countries. But the point at issue is where you have lost $30 billion in terms of your economic losses, and 100 billion rupees, which is probably $300 million or so, it is just a fraction. And then when we approached international entities in Geneva and in other places, we had to borrow loans at expensive rates. I mean, we were not at fault at all. For no rhyme or reason, our country was hit in a way that in my lifetime, I have never seen this kind of catastrophic situation. And now that we have taken over, I just want to share, ladies and gentlemen, one example. My late father and his brothers were sons of a poor farmer in undivided India. And then they migrated to Pakistan before division of India in Lahore. Through dint of hard work and untiring efforts, in 1965, they raised the largest steel engineering company in Pakistan. And then on 2nd January 1972, it was nationalized. And there was nothing in their hand to be busy about. Yet, my father and his brothers never lost hope. And they stood up and accepted the challenge. And in the very same government regime, in 18 months, they raised 6 new small factories to avoid further nationalization. Goodness Bank was their banker. They said, come to England. We will give you a lot of opportunities. My father said, no, I was born here and I'll die here. Now, what is the moral of the story? That wherever there's a will, there's a way. So we are facing these problems, these challenges. But I think global North has to appreciate that global South will survive, then they will survive. And vice versa. We have taken over the reign of the country again after 8th of February this year. And I am now determined, in terms of the example I've just given you, to put things in order. Easier said than done. For example, our power sector is in shambles. I'm being very honest with you. Power theft in a massive fashion, and elitist culture, doles out and hands out being given to those who don't deserve it. Our revenue sector in tatters of what we receive annually, we lose at least 4 times that amount through leakages. And unless we plug these loopholes, we'll never be able to recover from these devastating impacts out of actions of our own, nobody else's. Let me be very clear. And then there's also a problem of inflation and debt trap. I call it death trap. Now, all this put together is a big challenge. I have to acknowledge from the core of my heart the support we have been given and received from Saudi leadership. I think a friend in need is a friend indeed, and we will never be able to repay back to them what they've done to Pakistan in difficult times. My friend, under his watch, DFID has been outstandingly supporting Pakistan in education and health. But the point at issue is that we have to stand on our own feet. And I know this is possible, difficult, but not impossible. And how? That is the point at issue. We are now going for massive reforms, deep-rooted structural reforms. It'll hit me as Prime Minister. Obviously, I have to provide leadership by example, ladies and gentlemen. Without that, nothing will happen. And then, of course, we have to go for austerity, meaningful austerity, just not for publicity. And 3, we have a very young population. And this young population, which go into hundreds of millions of boys and girls, is a challenge, yet a great opportunity. So we have to provide them with modern tools and technologies, information technology, AI, and other vocational training, to provide them with opportunities to become self-earners, SMEs. And then here in Saudi Arabia, they should come here and open offices and contribute in nation-building efforts here in Pakistan, promote our agriculture through modern techniques, and of course, providing the farmer with best seeds and fertilizer, and of course, modern tools. My dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's a humongous task. It's not an easy task. We have to go for higher exports. For that, we have to have opportunities made available to our exporters. We are a country. We don't have oil. We have gas, but it is on the lower trend, depleting. We have our biggest asset, natural resources, mines and minerals, fertile land, and of course, this youth, which is the biggest asset for Pakistan. And together, I'm not going into details over here, but before I came here, for example, in order to have deep-rooted structural changes, you have to separate black sheep from the white. And before I came here, for the first time in the history of Pakistan, after getting credible input from agencies, I made OSDs, those highest level officers who were not functioning, had a grey record, and I said, come what may, I will not accept any pressure. I will move forward with a sense of purpose, with a sense of achievement, and make Pakistan find its place in Committee of Nations through hard work and untiring efforts.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. I think you heard on the applause that was very well received.